Hey there everyone, it is 80 here once again with another game of Starcraft 2, and I picked this game because I love the players who are going to be in it. Introducing first at the 8 o'clock is CombatEX, the Trollmaster himself. He's basically the quintessential troll of the Starcraft community. He's famous for always BMing his opponents, as you can see in this chat right now. And he's also infamous for usually cheesing whenever possible, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. His opponent for this game will be one of my favorite players, the Blue Zerg here at the 2 o'clock. His name is Destiny. He is, of course, no longer in Root. I also picked this game to kind of talk about the recent events with Destiny. Of course, Root Gaming was bought out by Complexity a couple of days ago, maybe a week or so at the time of casting. And then some drama happened where Destiny signed a contract saying certain things, and then later on he decided that he didn't really want to go through with it. It's a long story. I won't be able to do it justice, so please don't take my word for it. If you are interested, go look it up online. You can find all the information out there on the TL forums. That's the Team Liquid forums. So I won't pretend like I know everything that's going on, but suffice it to say, Destiny is no longer on a team now. He is officially on his own because Complexity did let him go, or it was a joint decision or something along those lines. He is no longer in Complexity, while the rest of Root Gaming did indeed get merged into Complexity. So he is just now Stephen Bennell II, still the same guy as always. So I love Root Destiny. I mean, just Destiny now. It's going to take some time to get used to that. As we see, CombatEX is getting his forge up, so he might be going for some cheesiness. But spoiler alert, that they are spawning in cross positions, so cheese will not be quite as effective. But hey, effectiveness has never stopped CombatEX in the past, as recently I saw him do a triple proxy Stargate in one of the Ninja expansions, so anything can happen when you're watching CombatEX, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that, as Destiny has decided to get a bunch of Zerglings out here in the early game, because he is of course prepared for the fact that CombatEX is known for his cheese, so Destiny is taking every precaution possible. We'll see if Destiny is able to weather the storm that is the early game when you're playing against CombatEX. He gets a surround in this probe and almost manages to take it out with those 3 drones, but he is content with taking it down to 10 HP. And now CombatEX is being so mad. I think he is getting upset that he thinks Destiny is too prepared, and leave it to CombatEX to insult his opponent for being prepared. Only CombatEX could pull that off, could actually think that his opponent is a noob for being prepared for what he was planning to do. At any rate, they are going to be spawning in cross positions, so CombatEX will have to come up with something more creative than his usual strategy, which consists of cannons and proxy buildings. We'll see if that still comes into play later on in today's game. Does CombatEX have anything like a gateway yet? Of course not. He only has this forge and also a cannon at his front door. So he does have that blocked off at least. Destiny will have to keep looking around, as Destiny has these Zerglings just kind of scrambling all over the map to try to find exactly what CombatEX is up to. CombatEX did start to make something right there, a pylon, but had to cancel it as he realized Destiny was close to discovering it. So right now CombatEX is stuck inside his base. He's going to actually be putting a gateway up in his base, which is of course very typical play for a normal Protoss player, but it's something you only see maybe half the time when you're watching CombatEX. So enjoy this. The gateway is actually in CombatEX's base. It's right around 50-50 on whether or not that will actually happen in any given game that he's playing. And now he's going to be asking Destiny how he wants that. So we continue to see BM from CombatEX. That is quite a bit of it. Looking at the MPM tab, Destiny is about doubling up his opponent here, but of course keep in mind that CombatEX's BM is not counted in the APM meter, and if it were indeed counted, he would be up there around 300 or 400. So don't let this APM tab fool you. All of that actions per minute nonsense doesn't take into account the fact that he's hyping into his keyboard and insulting his opponents all the while. He is now finally getting his cyber core up right around the 530 mark. That's around a fourth of the way to being warped in now. So he will have access to stalkers before the 7-minute mark. Don't worry, he is doing pretty well in today's game. We have... Oh, right. CombatEX is also famous for stream sniping, so he is actually making fun of himself for cheating. I'm not sure what he's doing right there, but he is going to be continuing to basically do what CombatEX does best, which is troll and troll some more no matter what happens. We have Zerglings just kind of exploring the front door for Destiny, and now CombatEX is going to be getting a couple more gateways up, not even bothering to hide these, he's just going to be putting them up at his front door. He will have a very staunch front door, however, as if Destiny wants to break through this, he'll have to go all the way through a bunch of gateways and a forge and some pylons and a cyber core and a cannon. So now we have a 4 gates on the way for our Protoss player. We'll see if he's able to leverage that into any sort of attack in the near future. No, make that 5 gates actually, so he's going to be going with 5 gateways off of 1 base. And now Destiny does indeed have a few Banelings, trying to do as much as he can with those. A couple of them getting tickled to death by a sentry and also being attacked by these cannons. CombatEX is continuing to make fun of his opponent for using Banelings, and CombatEX now is about to get all of these gateways done, and he's going to be putting Stargates up as well inside his base. So CombatEX is going to be going the always useful 5-gate 2 Stargates off of 1 base. He does have some nice saturation, a little bit oversaturated if I were to be completely honest, but hey, we'll see if he's able to make that work for him. Meanwhile, Destiny has a group of Zerglings and Banelings right here. He has Overlords stationed all around the map just to be able to watch out for any craziness that CombatEX might be up to. He doesn't have much in the way of a base right now, but he's kind of focused on containing his opponents, I would assume, because look at this front door. It's completely littered with SimCity buildings. A 6th gateway now going to be going up as well, along with a couple more pylons. He has a bunch of pylons just interspersed throughout his buildings. So, at least one thing going for CombatEX is that his buildings won't get unpowered very quickly. Destiny is now going to be taking his expansion, content with knowing that he is pretty safe at the moment. Just now getting that hatchery underway at his natural. Meanwhile, CombatEX is getting a couple of Void Rays out of his Stargates, actually Chrono boosting them out, so we'll see how many it takes for CombatEX to feel comfortable with moving out. I would assume 4 or maybe even 6, but you never know with CombatEX, he might move out with just these first 2. He's actually going to be telling his opponent he's going mass voids, and that Destiny should indeed get mass queens. We'll see if Destiny takes the bait and does just that, or if he decides to ignore his opponent. You see by now Destiny has actually given up on the typing battle, as of course at this point in the game your actions per minute are better used in actually playing the game rather than typing, and it shows in the APM tab. If only CombatEX would let the BM go and actually play the game, he could be up probably even around 100, but no, he's too busy with being himself and just doing things the way he wants to do them. So we have more Void Rays on the way for CombatEX. He is going to be waiting for at least 4 of them before moving out. He is foregoing the upgrades, as of course that isn't very helpful. Playing Starcraft, you really never want to get upgrades. It's completely pointless. I mean, there's really no point to even click them. Your units are completely better off if you never get upgrades, especially when your name is CombatEX, because it's kind of just his playstyle. Speaking of CombatEX's playstyle, he finally has some gateway units. He's actually going to be moving out with 4 Voids, 6 Zealots, and 3 Stalkers, even having a Menx statue, because of course when you're CombatEX rather, those statues actually fight for you. We'll see if that comes into play later in today's game. I'm sure Destiny knows about it, so he'll try to avoid those statues if possible, but you never know what can happen. As now we're about to see the first major engagement of this game. Voids, Stalkers, and Zealots going to be moving in on Destiny's territory, and he does only have 3 Queens along with a couple of Zerglings going to be getting a Spore Crawler up, but that will get taken out pretty quickly. It looks like Banelings moving in to take out the ground forces, managing to take out the majority of the Zealots, but now there still are Stalkers and Void Rays loose in Destiny's base. Let's see if they're able to hold this off. He is going to be getting a Spore Crawler in his main. That will do a little bit of damage, but it'll get taken out pretty quickly, as now only drones are left to be pulled off the line. Drones are surrounding these Stalkers very nicely, as a bunch of drones going to be taking those Stalkers out. These Zerglings so sad, because of course they can't attack air until you get that 7th attack upgrade, and then they can form a tower and attack these Void Rays. And for the record, that is actually a quote from Destiny. I heard him say that one time on his stream, and it was hilarious, so I'm going to be stealing that for this cast. I didn't make that up myself. That's Destiny saying that 7th attack upgrade means the Zerglings can attack air. And now we have CombatEX actually expanding Rare indeed that he's going to be putting a Nexus at his natural. Usually this is Stargates or maybe even a Robo, but indeed he's going to be getting a Nexus just outside his main base at his natural expansion. Also be getting a Robo facility, so now he will be on 2 base shortly to support production out of these 5 gates, 2 Stargates, and a Robo. We'll see how that ends up for our Protest player. 3 Void Rays still alive. This one very much hurting on health, only 5 hit points left on him, but the other 2 are very healthy, at full health in fact. Now they're going to be taking out a creep tumor, it looks like right there, so they will be doing a little bit more damage unless Destiny is able to make these Void Rays leave. Meanwhile, Destiny does have his natural expansion up and running, starting to get that saturated. He does have a couple of Zerglings along with those 2 Queens in the way of defense. CombatEX is actually deciding to get upgrades. Oh my goodness, CombatEX, where is his forge? It's actually getting an upgrade. He's going to be getting ground weapons level 1. I wasn't aware that CombatEX even did that. I thought he only ever got forges to get cannons, but indeed he is going to be using that for the upgrades. Something you don't ever see out of Protest players is getting that ground weapons level 1. I'm not even sure if it does anything. I think it makes Zealots faster. I'm really not sure about what that upgrade does, and I don't think the description even tells you. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really say anything about what that upgrade does. So CombatEX is just putting it in Fate's hands that his upgrade will be effective. We'll have to see if it indeed is later on in today's game. He does have this base up and running, able to move the majority of those probes who were grossly oversaturating the main into the natural. So he does have a full 2 bases worth of minerals now. Just look at that income tab. He is a little bit ahead of Destiny. He is about 1 harvester ahead now with a